Hey everyone, it's me, Donna. Okay, in today's video, I'm going to show you guys how to create a tornado using the masking feature, okay? And of course, as many of you know, there's several ways you can create a tornado, but this is, kind of a neat little interesting way that I wanted to share with you guys that I picked up myself a while back. So, let me go ahead and shrink this down. Okay. All right. Now what I want to do, I've already, when you start a new document, it automatically creates the first layer for you. Okay. So now what I want to do is I want to create another layer. Okay. And then what I want to do is create a bone layer since this is Moho debut. It doesn't come with a group layer when you click over here, but you can use a bone layer instead. Okay, and then that way, everything should work just fine. Okay, so now what I want to do is put these two layers inside this bone layer. So now that I've got this layer right here selected, I can hold down my shift button and click on the other layer, and then I can put both layers inside the bone layer. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and name this bone layer tornado. Okay, all right, and then I'm going to name this bottom layer, and you don't have to name any of these, but to kind of keep confusion down, I'm going to go ahead and name the bottom one mask, because that's going to be my mask layer. Okay, all right, so now what I want to do is go to this layer up above the mask layer and do my drawings and stuff in that layer, because that's going to be basically the guts of the tornado. That's what's going to give it that spinning look when I get through. So, yeah, that's definitely the goal here, okay? All right. So to start out with, I'm going to make sure that my auto stroke is off, and I'm going to click on my rectangle tool, and I'm just going to give it a basic white background, okay? All right, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on my transform points and just click on the canvas to unhighlight it, okay? Then what I'm going to do is get my freehands tool, and I'm going to go into my settings, my effect settings, and pick out gradient, okay? And in order to give the clouds and stuff, because it's going to look like clouds inside of a tornado, because that's basically how come you can see a tornado is because of the clouds getting sucked into the little wind tunnel there. So I want to give each one depth and all that so that it will give a more realistic effect. Okay, and in order, which I've got it on the linear. Okay, which you can pick out the radial or reflected or whatever, but for this tutorial, I'm just going to use the linear. Okay. All right, so what I'm going to do is, because if I leave it this way, then when I go to draw the clouds, the dark part is going to be up at the top, and then the white's going to be at the bottom. I don't want that. I want to give a shadow look, and I want it to look like the regular clouds, that have the shadow underneath. So what I need to do is, which first of all, I'm going to lighten up this dark color anyway. I'm going to kind of make it just more of a grayish color, okay? All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch it over to the other side. So I'm going to move this one up just a tad, and I'm going to move this one over to this side. Okay, then I'm going to switch places with this white and the middle color, okay? The middle tone of between the white and the gray, okay? So I'm going to do that and get it about where I want it, okay? And then I'm going to click OK. And then I'm going to take my freehand tool and I'm going to draw my clouds at a slant, because that will give it more of a rotational look, okay? So here I go. So I'm going to go ahead and do this, okay? And then go ahead and do this. And then do that and this, and just kind of add more and more in there, which actually I'm thinking that I probably need to lighten these up like quite a bit. So I'm going to take my select shape tool and I'm going to move these down like that. Oops. Move that one down. Move this one down. Okay, and I might just leave that one as is, and then do that one like that. Okay, and kind of, oops, put that on down a little bit more, and then kind of, oops, rotate it a bit more. Okay, all right, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and I'm going to draw some more of these so that you've got different layers, all kinds of different layers of clouds. You can go up here a little bit, and then right in here, here. Just kind of go a little crazy here to give all these different looks. Okay. Alrighty. So now what I want to do is I want to go down here to the transform layer button, and I want to kind of push these on up like that. Okay. All right. And now what I want to do is I want to go down to this mask layer, and I want to create the actual tornado shape. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my freehand tool, and this time I'm going to take it off of autofill and an auto stroke as well. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is actually draw the tornado. So let's see. I'm going to make sure that it's teeny tiny kind of toward the bottom. Okay. Alrighty, so that's that. So now what I need to do is I need to go to the Create Shape tool, click on that, and if I'm happy with the image, then I can say Create Shape, okay? And even once you do this, you can go in and, let me zoom in a little bit more, and like, so like if you want the bottom to come down just a little bit more, you can do that. And I think that's what I want, is for that to kind of come down just a little bit more. Okay, maybe about like that. Alrighty. And also, I think I want to make it just a little bit smaller. So what I can do is go to my transform layer tool and I can shrink it down a little bit, about like that. Okay. All right, then also what I want to do is I want to go up here and I want to create a bone layer for this, but first of all I'm going to have to turn it into an actual mask. So what I do is I double click on my bone layer and go up here to the masking, and I'm going to click hide all, and then I'm going to click OK. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click on my mask layer at the bottom and make sure that it is set to add to mask, and it is. So I can just click OK, and it looks like this. Okay. Alrighty. So now what I'm going to do is let's see. Yeah, it's shrank down pretty good. Okay. So now what I want to do is I want to go up here and I want to create bones for it. Okay. So let's get started. Okay. So first of all, I'm going to create this bone layer right here. Okay, then I'm just going to go up from it like that and just create a few of these. That way I can wiggle my tornado around and make it, have that moving appearance. Okay. All right, once I've done that, okay, now what I want to do is I want to go ahead and go to number 1 in my timeline on the on the timeline, the first one, the first frame, shall I say. I knew I would spit it out here in a minute. Okay, so then I click on my canvas. Excuse me. Goodness. Let me just go to that and I'll just click on my canvas. Okay, and I want to make sure that I'm on the transform layer button right here, and I want to move my timeline to a certain point. Let's just say 120. Okay, then what I can do is I can go right here to this layer that's up above the masking layer, and I can move uh, this down. That's going to be the inside of the tornado, and positioned it where I want the final part of it to be. So let me do that. Okay. And then, of course, it will be over with at the end. Okay. Because it's like it spins up and then poof, it's over if I got everything correct. Okay. If not, then it'll just be a continuous tornado. But anyway, all right. So now what I do is I can go up here to the bone layer and I can go back. Let me go back in my timeline. But let me see how it plays out for starters. As you can see, it looks like that. Okay. Oops. All right. Well, let me move it forward just a little bit more and then I can look at, okay, yeah, that's how it looks. All right, let me position this right about here. Okay, then I can wiggle. Let me go to the manipulates bone button and kind of manipulate this tornado how I want it, because I want it to be wiggling and kind of flopping around. Okay, like so. All right. And this is going to be the first part that I do to it, and then I'm going to move it some more, as you will see, the bottom part, to where it will look more like it's spinning, kind of like a top or whatever. Okay, so let's see that. Okay, like that. And that. And then finally, like, oops, straighten that up a little bit, kind of like that. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to start moving like the bottom part of it, kind of turning it, which I actually, what I will want to do is go here to this and kind of do like that a little bit on the transform layer and just kind of wiggle it a little bit as it's going. All right, then I can do like that, and I can turn it up that way a little bit, and then kind of like this, just, well, yeah, I can bring it back right there a little bit, and then kind of, let's see, let me zoom out to where I can get a hold of it, and I can kind of, oops, oh, it's not wanting to, uh-oh, later, I'm gonna have to zoom back out a little bit more. Okay, go up here, and then kind of, I can get it to turn. That's one thing I don't like about Moho, especially like Moho W or whatever, is the fact that it doesn't have all these other buttons that allow you to move in position, like to tilt it or whatever. Instead, it's all on one thing, and that can be kind of aggravating and cumbersome. And especially when it don't want to act right, it really annoys me. And I know some people can do this a lot better than me, but it just, I don't know. I just tend to make a lot of mistakes. Okay, so let's move on down the timeline a little bit more and twist it back up this way. Oops. Flitter. All right now. Really? Okay. Now, there we go. There's just something about the way I tend to grab it. It just ain't that great. Let me do like that. That's better. And then, twist it on back up that way. Let me see how it looks. Oh my goodness. Let me see if I like it. Well, actually, it doesn't look too bad. Okay. Looks pretty good. Pretty good. Alrighty, so let me zoom on in. And this situated like this. Okay. Alrighty, so let me click play again. Okay. Alrighty, and let's go back to that. And let me see if I can create a background for this. Let's see, like maybe a dark blue. And let me put it underneath it. Of course, I don't want it to be in it. I just want it to be underneath it. So what I can do is I can pick out a dark blue background, okay? And let me go to my draw shape button and pick out my rectangle and just create me a background right here. Oops, I didn't get rid of the gradient. So now what I need to do is I need to go up here to edit and clear it out and pick out a plain feature and try again. So let's do that. Okay. Whoops. Let me put it back on the dark and I'll just do it with my paint bucket like that. You're kidding. Let me clear it out again. And let's do this again. Let me go pick out the dark color. Let's see. I like that blue. That'd be fine. All right, so let's pick that, okay? And then let me pick a ground. So let's hit enter so that I make sure that it, whoops, let me go up here to that, to the transform points tool, click on that, and then I will just pick like a green color and I'll pick out, I think I'll just use my freehand tool and just draw a green ground like that. Okay. And whoops, I need to fill it in. There we go. Alrighty, yeah, because see, I didn't have, on the freehand tool, I didn't have autofill selected, so that's why it did that. Alright, so now let's go back up to this and let's see how it looks. Okay. Alrighty, that's pretty cool. Alright, so let's actually turn this into an animation. So then what I do is I go up here to File and I click on Export Animation. All right. So now what I'm going to do is it went all the way to 120. So that's my last frame on this. So I'm going to write 120 in this last little box. Okay. And I want it to be a video. If you want it to be like frame by frame or an image, then you would pick out image sequences, excuse me, and it would just do a bunch of little photographs or a bunch of images will pop up in your folder that you're putting it in, and then you can take each one and put them in your if you've got like another uh, movie maker program or something, then you can do that or whatever. But I'm just going to turn this into an actual video. So I click on that, and it's going to be an MP4 because that's pretty much your options is two different versions of the M4, MP4, whatever. So I got that selected, and now I'm going to pick out the folder that I want, and I've already got it pretty much picked out right here. And then I go ahead and I name it, and I'm going to call it Tornado 002. And and I actually have to type in MP4 for this to work. If I don't type in MP4 for some reason, it will crash and the program will go off and I have to open it back up and all this mess. So in order for it to actually do that, if you're having problems with this and it's doing this with you, that is why. You actually have to type MP4 in the name of it, okay? All right, so then you click OK, and it will start making your little movie. And of course, it will kind of flash and glitch or whatever until it gets through, and then you will see that it did it correctly. It just looks kind of funny as it's processing it. Okay. Guess we just wait a little while, a little bit longer. Any day now, yeah. Woo woo. Yeah, I just thought I'd add a little song. Do 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 do. Alrighty, come on. All right, there we go. See? That is how it looks. Of course, it's not the best tornado in the world, but you get the gist. You can play around with it and make it your own and do a heck of a lot better than I did with this one. But I just wanted to show you that there's, a few different ways that you can create something like a tornado using masking. So anyway, we'll talk to you guys later. Bye.